pleased to welcome to the show Carlosl Lupton. He's written a book called The Wonderful World of Genie Geometry. And boy, this really struck a chord with me as somebody who has math anxiety. And I know there's other people listening that understand exactly what I'm saying. They have kids or grandkids that suffer from that same affliction, and it's one that can be cured, and he's taking a step in that direction with this amazing book. Carlos, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about what was it that drove you to come up with Genie Geometry? Why did you come up with this?
Well, when I was in college, I was encouraged to write a paper about how I would change teaching math in the education field. So I wrote a paper about, I think we should start teaching younger kids more about exciting things about math instead of waiting till they go through 8 years of arithmetic and then finally start doing algebra and stuff in ninth grade. So I came up with this idea of teaching younger kids about geometric shapes, but to do it in a storybook and not to really have any math in the book at all. And so this book is about little Genie Geometry and her family. And so Genie's a little girl, and it's a storybook about the relationships between her grandpa Pythagoras and different members of her family. And it's just to get the jargon of geometry into the kids' heads. And it's also a coloring book. So once they learn about a character, then they flip the book over to the flip side. The coloring book starts from the other side, and they get to draw each character. And you know, if you draw something or write something down, you retain the knowledge more. So yeah, that's the whole idea.
Yeah, and Carlos, I mean, so it really makes sense because we start to hear these things that are related to math, especially geometry. I mean, I'll just tell everyone, I had to take it twice, and I was very unfamiliar with the terms. So you said it. It's not about throwing math their way. It's about getting them used to the terms in a friendly way. And as you started to write this, did it just kind of pour out of you?
Yes, it did. I had the idea for years and years. One winter, I was sitting around here, and I was out of work, and I couldn't get a job teaching. And I wanted to teach in the local area, right around here in Bethel, Vermont. I couldn't get a job teaching, so I decided I got nothing else to do. I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to write a book for the teachers that do have jobs, and I'm going to make it fun. And this book is written for kids anywhere from the ages of like 4 to maybe 11, and even older kids in it. Even adults might like this book. But the fact is, you get kids so that they know, get familiar with the family. When they get to 10th grade, they're going to say, wow, I already know these guys, and this is going to be fun. And that's the whole idea.
Yeah, I love it. We're speaking with Carlosl Lupton, and of course, the book is called The Wonderful World of Genie Geometry. As he said, it's about the story, and also there's the coloring aspect, which is so huge for the kids the age that he just mentioned. And you have to be proud because already you're getting a seal of approval, including from Parents Magazine. They gave you the homeschooling seal of approval. That has to be huge.
Oh, that is good. I got that in 2016. It's an annual award. They only give one out, and it's from the homeschooling headquarters in Texas. And I did win that award, and I was featured in their Homeschooling Parents Magazine. And I also won 3 5-star reviews from professional reviewers. And you can find all that on my website. Can I tell you my website?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's carloslupton.com. Lupton. And in there you can find a tab for the reviews, an order page. The book's on sale for $12.45. And I highly recommend you check it out because with your help, we can begin to end this math anxiety that's so prevalent all over the world. And it's silly because math can really be fun.
Oh, I so agree with you. I mean, now that I've embraced math, but as an adult, I realize what I missed when I was a kid, and I wish I had had The Wonderful World of Genie Geometry storybook when I was a kid. Do you have, because the characters are just adorable, I have to say, so clever. Do you have a favorite character?
Um, well, Jeannie's kind of my favorite character because she's the narrator and she's this little girl. And in the book, I made her sound really, pretty cool. And just the way she goes about telling about how excited she is, to have such wonderful family, the geometry family. And, but no, I actually like them all. And my illustrator, Philip Goldenschlager, did such a great job that these characters are just fun to look at. They're fun to learn about, and they're going to be really fun for the kids to draw, I believe.
Yeah, and we should tell people, Carlos, about your background. You have a Bachelor of Arts degree in mathematics. You and I were talking about this off the air. You've got minor degrees in education and art. And you, as you mentioned at the top, have always talked about arithmetic exercises, certainly when it comes to public schools and why we have this math anxiety, and you could see that frustration. So is your goal is to eliminate that and cut down the jargon and instead stimulate the interest of young kids?
Yes, and I traveled around a lot I went to 3 different colleges, and I do have a BA in math, minor in secondary education and art. So I could teach either art or math. But I traveled around between my different schoolings and learned a lot about the world, and I learned about relationships and friendships and love, and all of this is incorporated into this book. So that's why I say even the adults are going to have fun reading through it. This book is not on a reading level for the young kids. It has to actually be read to them by an adult in the room. And then, but the adults, I promise you, will enjoy it just as much.
So after you go through this and you put this together and, you're really promoting that interest in mathematics to a lot of young students, and you're personalizing these geometric shapes and all that kind of stuff, what is it that I got to think that this has to go someplace else next. Where would that be? Will you do another book?
Yeah, my publisher has already asked me to do a continuation. So this book is all about triangles, and that's the best way to start teaching geometry, since everything basically revolves around the Pythagorean theorem and the right triangle itself, which is what Grandpa Pythagoras is made out of. And so the next book will probably be about circles, because then circles is when you get into trigonometry and higher calculuses and things like that. So geometry is a combination of the triangles and circles within triangles and triangles within circles and all that. So that would be the next level. I'm also working on a novel, which is a fictitious adventure book, somewhat autobiographical, but that's kind of on the back burner. If this book goes well, then I'll start on the second children's book. I also have another children's book that I haven't published, but it's not anything to do with math. It's just for fun reading. And it's about a guy that his bicycle can fly. Ooh. At will. So.
Oh, I love that. And I want to tell everyone again, the book is called The Wonderful World of Genie Geometry Storybook. And Carlos, it's interesting you were talking about some of the characters and Grandpa Pythagoras geometry and grandmother and the I love this great grandmother Genie 20 what is it, 2 sides. I love that.
Yeah, so here's let me just give you a little reference. Way back there was great grandpa Linus, and of course he's made out of a line, and his brother great uncle Sagi is made out of a line segment. So Sagi marries Genie 2 sides from the 2 sides family, and they have 3-sided children. One is called triangle, the other one is isosceles, and the other one is equilateral. And then then you learn the relationships and the wedding vows, and they all have similar things they do to like a wedding vow. Like instead of wearing rings, they all have the same color square in the corner of their triangles, and it's just about relationships in that manner. So the kids don't even really realize they're learning math. They think they're reading a story and coloring it in a book, but all these jargon words are getting stuck in the back of their heads.
I love to, and you named the illustrator. The illustrations are beautifully done in this, and I think that's key because it's very colorful, and kids will be attracted to that. And I bet that's a lot of what you're getting, and you see that in the reviews.
Yes, and that was my intent. It was mostly, since it's going to be a coloring book, I wanted the colors to be real bright reds and yellows, and so the illustrator did a real good job. And my publisher, by the way, did the coloring and the design for the front and back covers. And so they also did a very good job of making it very bright and geometric shapes. And the website has the same geometric bright colors. And the whole thing just pops right out. And it's exactly what I want to be happier.
All right, we want to tell everyone you need to pick this up. Gosh, homeschooling, boy, if you're doing that, you definitely want that. I'd love to see this get into a bunch of schools. If you're listening to me and you're a superintendent or a principal, we have a lot of educators that listen. CarlosLupton.com, and also there's other places where they can get it as well.
Yes, it'll be on Amazon soon. There's one on there now, but it's from my other publisher. If you do go on Amazon, click on the one that says $12.45, not the $30 one. They're the same book, but much better price, $12.45.
There you go. Awesome. I love that. Carlos, what a delight to have you on the show. We wish you the best with this. Go get them. Let's end that math anxiety, and thank you for attacking a problem in a very fun way.
Thank you, Ms. Delaney. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks. Thanks, Carlos.
Thanks, Kate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.